What's going on, traders? We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the NQ, Triple Q, SPY, ES, and then we're going to go over a semiconductor stock that institutions are loading calls on. You're not going to want to miss this. Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So in our last video, we talked about the possibility of a dead cat bounce. And if we look at the NQ, we talked about three scenarios that can play out here when it comes to that dead cat bounce. And it looks like the first scenario played out, where I mentioned that if we break below the symmetrical triangle, which we did on Friday, that we could be looking at a retest towards the top of the symmetrical triangle before heading back towards the downside. And so that's exactly what happened. We retested 21,800, 21,850, give or take, and then we broke further down. And I gave you guys a target of 21,300. So we're a little bit off, but I'll take this as a win here. I do think we do have a little bit more downside, but if we just so happen to bounce from here, sue me. I'm 100 points off. It is what it is. All right. But regardless, the question is, are we going to see a bounce from here? And I think it's very much possible. I mean, we go to the daily time frame, and bulls are extremely present within this supply and demand zone here, right where these guys. So we're right where these guys are. Okay. And so we definitely want to see bulls step in here if we're bullish on the market. If you're bearish, then you want to see this thing get destroyed, right? You got bullish wicks here, you got bullish candle here, you got a bullish candle here, you got bullish candles here. So you see that bulls are very much present in this area. So even if we don't get a bounce exactly off 21,300, I do imagine at some point in time between maybe tomorrow and even Wednesday, which is Nvidia earnings, that we get some type of bounce within this range. Lowest we could be looking at is about 21,100. Do I think we're going to head that low in the short term? No. Is it going to happen? Do I think it's going to happen eventually? Absolutely. But for now, I will focus between 21,300. Lowest we could be looking at is 21,200. And then I think bulls are going to step in. So this is pretty much our last line of defense, guys. We definitely want to see this hold if you're bullish on the market. Now, in regards to upside, 21,500. We broke below 21,500. We need to see that get reclaimed. Not only that, but we want to see 21,700. And the ultimate levels of all levels, in order for me to really lean back towards the bullish side, is 22K. We're not even close to that at this point, but that's what I want to see in order for me to start leaning more bullish on the tech side of the market. And so we look at the ES. And so the ES closed at a very interesting spot here. And the futures market is about to open. Well, it's pretty much open now. It's just not moving. But when it comes to the ES, we close right above 6,000. Now, you would say that is an important level. It's an important psych level, of course. But more importantly, you want to see us hold 59.80 on the ES, this blue line right here. The reason being is that bulls are very much present here. So you're going to see this pattern across the board where bulls are extremely present at the current levels that we're at. So bulls are extremely present here. You got this massive bullish candle here. Not only that, but you have this massive bullish wick here. You got a huge bullish wick here. You got multiple bullish candles in this area, multiple bullish candles in this area. So you definitely want to see 59.80 hold on the ES. More importantly than ever, if we head further to the downside, the most important level of all, and we can zoom out here, is where these guys are, 5,900. All right, you get below 5,900, you enter negative gamma territory, and that's where things get very domestic. And I'm not talking about them little petty fights you and your mom and dad have. I'm talking about some extreme domestic violence that's about to happen across the market if you give up 5,900. So you want to see this level hold if we just so happen to head that low. Now, when it comes to upside for the ES, 60-50. So you want to see 60-50 get reclaimed, 60-40 give or take. And then after that, more importantly than anything, 60-100. We're nowhere near that, but it is an important level that we need to get above. So right where these guys are, right where these guys are. All this turbulence here, all this turbulence here. We're going to need some immaculate news, guys. Some insane news for us to break above this area here where all these guys are. And I do imagine if anything was going to break us out of this area, it would be Nvidia earnings, or Nvidia earnings can break us further down. I'm not exactly extremely bullish or extremely bearish on Nvidia earnings, but I do have my ideas. We'll talk about that in a bit. But that's what I'm looking at for the ES. You want to see 59.80 hold if you are bullish. All right, so let's look at the SPY. SPY. Um, we talk about this all the time. 598. All right, 598. We closed below that, so I do imagine that we're going to see a little bit more downside towards 595. You want to see 595 hold. After that, you want to see these guys step in. These bulls right here, these bulls right here, these bulls in this area. I mean, you zoom in and you guys can see clear as day. Bulls are very much present at 5 595. So you want to see this level hold. This is our last line of defense before we start heading further down and we start heading towards 592. 589 is what you want to see hold. You give up 589, chances are you're going to start heading towards this gap fill at 584. I do think this gap is going to get filled between this month and probably the beginning of March. So you definitely want to look out for this move. Another thing, I'm seeing people buying calls on the SPY. Um, again, I said this in another video. This is not where you want to buy calls. Okay, you don't need a volume profile to see where you should buy calls, guys, or buy puts. This right here does not scream buy calls. This doesn't tell me to buy calls. Bears are extremely present right here. You are not, do what you want. Okay, do what you want at the end of the day, but this does not tell me to buy calls. Nothing about this says, hey, buy calls, buddy. Everything's gonna be fine. Now, if you want to take a low risk trade and maybe set a stop loss, like a really tight stop loss, and you're actually going to follow that stop loss, then by all means do your thing. But this right here does not tell me to buy calls. This tells me that a Diddy party is about to happen and you're about to get destroyed and oiled up, buddy. So that's what this tells me. There's nothing about this screams good. Okay, so um, when is a good time to buy calls? We'll talk about that. You guys will be the first or the second to know outside of my Discord on when it's a good time to buy calls. But right here, not interested. All right, just not interested. And so we zoom out on the daily time frame for the SPY, right? And we're heading towards the bottom of this channel, and it's pretty much right between 595, 592, give or take. So if we do head further down, I do imagine bulls are going to step in, and we're going to see some type of bounce because I'm betting on retail, just assuming that we're going to start filling this gap like almost right away. And I don't think it's going to happen that way. Okay, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think we're going to get one more bounce back towards the upside. And I will say that we're pretty illiquid all the way back towards 610. Do I think we can head that high again? I mean, it's tough to say, all right, but it's something to look out for. I will say that much. But you're really a liquid. And just to reiterate my point on why you shouldn't just be interested in why you shouldn't be buying calls, I mean, let's go to the hour time frame. I don't even talk about smaller time frames like that. I think they're pretty useless when it comes to swing trading, but that's just me. Do what you want. But I mean, does this tell you to buy calls? Unless we break above this guy right here at around 604, that's when I would somewhat be interested in buying calls. Because at that point, you'll be illiquid back towards the upside, right? You'll be illiquid all the way towards 608. And I imagine you're going to move pretty fast if you get above 604 on the SPY. But as long as we're down here, I mean, even right here, guys, let's zoom in, right? You see that bears are constantly pushing SPY down. I mean, you have these bearish wicks here, and you see over and over that bears are trying to push the SPY down. Now, what's interesting here is that you could be looking at a potential double bottom. You got your bottom here, another bottom here, and this could 604 could be your neckline, or 602. 604? No. Yeah, 602 is your neckline for this potential double bottom. So you could form a double bottom on the hourly time frame. All right. Or we head further down, we start heading towards 595, and then we're just pretty much making a lower low on a much smaller time frame. But again, I just want to reiterate that this does not tell me to get into calls. All right. Now, if you plan on dollar cost averaging or maybe setting a tight stop loss, maybe get into a low risk trade by all means. But to me, that's just you trading off luck. You're just hoping to get lucky at that point. But do what you want. All right. That's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think this is a safe place to buy calls? And if so, let me know why. All right. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But again, a SPY can head towards 595, and then I mean we got a little more space to the downside, and then I do think it's very much possible we see some type of bounce from there. Now, one thing I want to point out, we look at quant data, right? And this is insane. We've been getting these alerts in our Discord like all day. Pretty insane. So we look at quant data. Link will be in the description below if you want access to this type of information, or you can join the Discord and you just get the information for a lot cheaper. But February 24th, which is today, right? Institutions got SPY puts for March 14th. And interesting enough, the strike is 578. So remember in that one video I was talking about 579 strikes on the SPY? I think institutions rolled those contracts over, right? Because we didn't see that play out last week. The expiration was for last week. So we didn't see that play out last week. And so I do think institutions are rolling these contracts over. So 578 puts for March 14th on the SPY. You got a 400K premium. Let's zoom over here. Scroll over, sorry. You got a 400K premium, you got a 100K premium, 100K premium, 100K premium. So institutions are loading up on 578 puts on the SPY. Interesting enough, that's right below where that gap fill is. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Does that mean it's going to play out right away? No, you definitely want to see some confirmation. I think we've fallen quite a bit here. But yeah, you just really want to be careful here when it comes to the SPY. At this point, I think you're just trading against somewhat of a falling knife. Is it an actual falling knife? No, but you're just trading against this is just not a good idea. So I think I proved my point here. Okay, I think I made my point. We look at the triple Qs. Triple Qs. Now, triple Qs is in a very interesting spot, guys. Very interesting spot. Right. So we zoom out on the daily time frame. We got this massive, massive rising wedge, and we're at the bottom of this rising wedge. If we just so happen to break below this rising wedge, we can head towards 515. We talk about 515 all the time. This is a very important level. You want to see 515 hold if you're bullish. All right. We talk about this all the time. Multiple videos, we mentioned this level. You get below 515, pack your bags, get ready to sell the house. Tell your son you're a disappointment. Your wife already has the divorce papers ready. It's over for you, all right? It's not looking good, all right? If you get below 515 and you have calls at 515, all right? So you definitely want to see this level hold more than anything. Now, I do think, again, I think we're going to see a bounce happen between here and 515. I definitely think that's going to be the case. Do not trade off that. Of course, always do your own due diligence, get your own confirmation. And the reason being is that we're really illiquid back towards the upside. And I do think we're going to liquidate this area all the way towards about 533. So that's what I'm looking at for the downside in regards to the triple Qs. You want to see 515 hold if we just so happen to head towards 515. Now, in regards to upside, you want to get back above 525. After 525, you're looking at 530, 527, give or take, and then you want to see us get back above 533. And then at that point, we're looking at previous highs all over again. So you just want to see a break, retest, and then you head higher from there. And you'll get above that Jerome Powell sell-off zone. So that's what you want to see on the triple Qs. All right, Nvidia. Now, this is not the semiconductor that institutions are buying calls on, or institutions are buying calls on Nvidia. Let me correct that, but it's not the semiconductor I'm talking about or I was referring to in the beginning of the video. Just want to make that clear. Are we forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern here? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Is this a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern? You have a potential shoulder here, and the reason why I'm saying potential is because the neckline isn't broken, so the head and shoulders pattern is not confirmed. And then you have a potential shoulder here. You get some type of bullish candle here that will somewhat confirm that you have somewhat of a shoulder here, and then your neckline would be around 144, 145, give or take. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. But interesting enough, we go to quant data, and this is, you guys got to bear with me here when it comes to quant data because it takes a bit to load up this information. But Nvidia, so today we got a few calls that came in today. Let's actually do this. So we got a few calls that came in today, and I believe they were for March 7th. I could be wrong. And I believe they were for the 136 strike, and I could be wrong on that too. So yeah, 136. Yeah, so 136 strike. Here we go. All right. So there was a bunch of calls that came in for the 136 strike on Nvidia, expiration March 7th. Okay, so institutions are loading up on those calls. It's important to note that things are going to according to plan. We talked about how institutions also are in 128 puts. So I'm assuming that they're still in this position because Nvidia continues to drop. So if we continue to head further down, and let's say we invalidate this potential shoulder here, right? We can head as low as 125, and institutions will be well in profit when it comes to those 128 puts. Now, in the Discord, we took profit on that play, but yeah, definitely something you want to look at. We also did 50 puts. We talked about this in the last video. We did 50 puts on NVDL, which is Nvidia's ETF. We took profit on those, so congratulations to Discord members. We just been killing it in the Discord, guys. You're really missing out, all right? But other than that, when it comes to Nvidia, Nvidia could see a bounce pretty soon, especially if we were considering that institutions are loading up on those 136 calls. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Are you bullish for Nvidia earnings? Are you bearish for Nvidia earnings? And if so, um, are those 136 calls a potential sign that Nvidia is going to beat? All right, so that's what I'm looking at for Nvidia. And so the stock that I want to talk about is not Tesla, right? It's important to note that institutions loaded up 360 calls on Tesla. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, that's something else that's interesting as well. Is SMCI, the stock that I want to talk about. The amount of calls that's getting loaded up on this thing by institutions is insane, guys. So tomorrow, SMCI has news in regards to their filing. You guys would know better than me. I don't follow this stock. I just started recently following it again because let's be honest, it's been trash for so long. So I don't really follow trash. All right, so it's starting to come back to life. You know that goes without saying. And tomorrow they do have news on their filing, right? And so we go to Quant Data, and this is insane. This is actually insane. SMCI, we look up SMCI, so you got to bear with me again because once again, quant data takes time to load this stuff. And the amount of calls that came in today, I'm hoping I click on the right one here. This actually happened this morning. So let me see if I click on the right one. Nope. Here we go. um the amount of calls that's coming in for this thing, there's a lot of 60 calls that's coming in for SMCI. You got 60 calls. So right here you got 70 calls from March 21st, right? March 21st, 70 calls coming in, and it's insane. Look at the premiums here. 200K, 100K, 80K, 80K, 79K. Let's look at the March 21st, and let's type in the strike for 60. This thing is getting so much attention by institutions is actually insane, guys. Look at this. 60 calls from March 21st, 38 K premium, 25K premium. This thing is getting so much attention when it comes to calls. Could this be a sign on what's going to happen tomorrow when it comes to their filing? You guys let me know. And if that is the case, will this affect Nvidia and the other semis? Also, let me know in the comments below. But right now, we're looking at this falling channel. We retested and we closed above this falling channel right here. So very interesting. Also, you have an inverted hammer pattern. So this thing might go crazy tomorrow, and if it does, that could mean good things for Nvidia, and we might actually see those 136 puts play out. So yeah, definitely want to pay attention to this thing. Obviously, do your own due diligence, do your own form of confirmation. Do not just blindly follow this trade. But yeah, this is actually insane. If you want to see how we're going to play this, or if we're going to play this, join the Discord. Discord link will be in the description below. Last but not least, let's talk about the VIX. So in the Discord, I talked about the VIX. I said I do think the VIX has one more pump towards the upside. I do think we're going to see a move towards 22 on the VIX. But as you guys can see here, I mean, beautiful. You broke above this trend. That's for all you who say you can't plot the VIX. I mean, this thing is clearly following like this down to a T right here. So you broke out, you retested this trend, crazy enough, right? You retested this trend and you're heading back towards the upside. I do think the VIX is going to head towards these guys right here, um, right here where these guys are at around 22, between 22, 23, and then you'll probably see some turbulence and you'll probably see move back towards the downside before we head back towards that 25 and liquidate this area. So that's pretty much all I have in regards to the overall market. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Just keep it respectful as always. If you guys want me to go over a stock, let me know as well. Just make sure it's not a penny stock. If it's a penny stock, I'm going to laugh at you. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to laugh at you. Do not give me a penny stock in the comments below. Other than that, that's all I have. Until the next video, traders, have you a good one.